The urge to write and make pilgrimages to places glorified by the heroes and heroines of our imagination is a deep one, beginning, I believe, in one's childhood. I had this passion to visit these wonderful places, and I wrote this book called Passionate Pilgrimages, Chopin to Coward. The first chapter is about George Sand and Chopin at the Chateau de Nohant. The chateau is in central France, below the Loire. She was a magnificent woman. She wrote over 120 novels, and she had 4 plays running simultaneously in Paris. Here's a photograph taken of her at the end of her life, after becoming one of the most successful women of her age. And this is her mansion, or chateau, or what you would call a big house in Nohant. And here is the dining room where they sat around in the evening, and you can see a little glimpse of a piano where Chopin practiced. Now we move on to Somerset Maugham, and he was a great writer, and of course we all know that he had to leave England and go and live in the south of France because his companion was exiled from London, and they had to leave England. And suppose they spent the rest of their life in the Côte d'Azur in the Villa Mauresque. It was a marvelous villa, and he entertained international celebrities there, mostly writers, but Noel Coward writes in his biography how magnificent the villa was, and they stayed there for the rest of their lives. The soldiers came in the Second World War, and they had to evacuate, but afterwards they came back and found a terrible lot of damage done. Ivan Novello, again, was a superstar. He was a contemporary of Noel Coward, so they were in great competition. He wrote and starred and produced his own music reviews at the Great Haymarket Theatre in the West End, and this is where he was born. The same with Noel Coward. They lived in very, very suburban houses until they became famous, of course. And this is one of his shows, one of the most successful shows, The Dancing Years. He composed all the music, and very, very famous. Of course, now we go on to Puccini, and where he lived was in the wonderful area of Tuscany in Italy. And there he is in Lake Largo, where he had a house, and he did all his composing in this one house, and it's very, very romantic. He went duck shooting, and here's the house right beside the lake, and this is where he composed all his wonderful operas. Tosca was composed on this piano, and the home is open to the public, and you can go anytime, and the list goes on. I really don't want to go on too long, but I will tell you that we go to Noel Coward, we visit George Bernard Shaw's house, and Catherine Mason, and Catherine Mansfield, and Paul Bowles. We visit Cole Porter in Paris, and Victor Hugo in Paris, and then we go to Franco Zeffirelli and Lady Gregory in Ireland. And this is just to finish with Noel Coward, who was the most sophisticated comedian and actor and playwright and poet in London during the 1920s and 30s. I hope you'll read my book, Passionate Pilgrimages, and I do hope that you remember that Noel Coward composed Mad Dogs and Englishmen, and here he is singing it at Las Vegas.
In tropical climes, at certain times of day, when all the citizens retired, tear their clothes off and perspire. You know, it's one of those rules that the greatest fools obey because the sun is far too sultry and one must avoid the bob-rivality rain. Pap like a pap like a pap like a boo, that's natives if you're interested. Digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-do. The natives grieve when the white men leave their huts because they're obviously, definitely nuts. Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. The Japanese don't care. The Chinese wouldn't dare to. Hindus and Argentines sleep firmly from 12 to 1, but Englishmen detest a siesta. You know, in the Philippines, they have lovely screens to protect you from the glare. In the Malay states, there are hats, like plates, which the Britishers won't wear. At 12 noon, the natives swoon and no further work is done. But mad dogs and Englishmen go out to the midday sun. Oh, it's such a surprise for the Eastern eyes to see that though the English are effete, they're quite impervious to heat. When the white man rides, every native hides in glee, because the simple creatures hope he will impale his solar topee on the tree. Habit, how it's the same natives, pay no attention. It seems to shame when the English claim the earth, that they give rise to such hilarity and mirth. Oh dear. Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. You know, the smallest Malay rabbit deplores this foolish habit in Hong Kong. They strike a gong and fire off a noonday gun to reprimand each inmate who's in late. In a jungle town where the sun beats down to the rage of man and beast, the English garb of the English South merely gets a bit more creased. In Bangkok at 12 o'clock they foam at the mouth and run, but mad dogs and Englishmen go out to the midday sun. Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. The toughest Burmese bandit can never understand. In Rangoon, the heat of noon is just what the natives shun. They put their Scotch or rye down and lie down. In the jungle swamps where the python romps, there is peace from 12 till 2. Even caribous lie around and snooze, with nothing else to do. In Bengal, to move at all is seldom, if ever, done. But mad dogs and Englishmen go out to the midday, 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 out to the midday.
And then Noel Coward, of course, he moved to Jamaica, and he loved Jamaica. But he was very popular until the critics started descending on him and saying he was outdated and his plays were superficial, and it hurt him terribly. And that's another reason why he moved to Jamaica.